So please excuse my hair. I'm like redoing my dreads or whatever. But I was watching the Behind the Likes podcast with Winter and Shy, the new episode that just came out. And Shy was talking about how she took her family to see the Chris Brown concert. This is the second time Shy has been geeked up to tell us about the Chris Brown concert. And I think it's so interesting because we have multiple times heard these girls talk about how, oh, we need to stop supporting men who abuse women, stop supporting Trey Songz and Tory Lanez and P. Diddy and R. Kelly, etc., etc. But then Shy has been geeked up, embarrassingly excited to tell us about how she's going to go see Chris Brown or how she saw Chris Brown. And Chris Brown has multiple allegations of verbally and physically abusing multiple women. Multiple allegations of verbally and physically abusing multiple women. They've talked about it on the podcast. He even said free Tory, which they talked about. So what are we doing? Like, why is Shy talking? Like, don't get me wrong. I like the podcast, but that is so self-contradictory. Like, what do you mean? I have seen Winter on numerous episodes and occasions talking about how, oh, and Trey Songz is still shirtless, touring, and people are still celebrating him, and Shy is backing it up. Like, oh yeah, Trey Songz, he's shirtless, he's touring, he's still doing concerts, and women are still in the geeked up to see him, blah blah blah, and even though he's a monster, we all know he has these allegations and he abused me and Trey Songz has done this, da da da. And like people still supporting, people are still screaming free Tory, free Tory. And they have said on numerous occasions that people need to stop celebrating these men because of the terrible things they done. But yet Shy has now said twice, a year apart, I think, of going to see fucking Chris Brown. Like, Chris Brown's fucking terrible. Why is she going to see this man? Like, so yeah, it's very confusing when I was watching this episode that's 2 to 3 weeks late because they got into another fight and almost canceled the podcast again, which I'm not even pressed about that. But then Shy is sitting over there talking about, oh yeah, I was able to spoil my family and friends. Like we got to see Chris Brown. Why were you geeked up to see Chris Brown? This isn't the only time Shy has talked about seeing Chris Brown. And then and then the one episode they were talking about P. Diddy, she was like, Winter was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't sing to R. Kelly, like I wouldn't do none of that. And she was like, oh, so if this song came on, you wouldn't dance, you wouldn't do this, you wouldn't do that. And then Winter was like, no. And Shy was like, oh yeah, me neither, because everything's a fucking joke to Shy. Like, and I'm just like, rape isn't funny, beating women isn't funny, like abusing children isn't funny, sexual assault's not funny. Like, why do you keep seeing these people? Like, what is fun? Why do you keep and then off topic of the subject, but then there was an episode where they were talking about the elections and Shy was like, yeah, I mean, I don't like Trump, I don't vote for Trump, da da da, but I could see I'm not gonna stop being friends with someone who voted for him and blah blah blah. It's like, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. Like, why? Shy said that somebody messaged her on Instagram and said she's always on the wrong side of history. I am sorry. She is low key always on the wrong side of fucking history. Always. Like, I'm not saying Winter doesn't make mistakes. I'm not saying that, like, I mean, I get on YouTube, I get on like social media and I say things that are probably crazy and things I regret and things from my past or whatever. But Shy really is on the wrong side of history. But there was this other episode, they were talking about how Kim Kardashian, back to the Trump stuff, had voted for Trump. And Shy was like, yeah, well, blah, blah, blah. So it's fine that she voted for Trump and you like, Winter was like, yeah, and Kim Kardashian posted she voted for Trump. And Shy was like, yeah, well. And like, I know in the past, Shy and Winter have both said they love Kim Kardashian down, like that's their girl. They don't give a fuck what she does. But Winter was woman enough to call it out and be like, yeah, but she voted for Trump. And Shy was like, yeah, well, what? Are you fine with supporting Kim Kardashian even though she openly voted for a rapist, a pedophile, and a convicted felon? Are you just fine knowing that you're so black proud, but you're fine with that essentially a white woman voted for a racist to run the country? Or are you just gonna overlook that because you love Kim Kardashian that much? Like, which is it? Like, did you already know Kim Kardashian was kind of racist and that's why she did the shit? And yes, she can be racist and have black children, or are you just gonna overlook it because you love Kim? Like, Shy is always on some bullshit. Like, I like Winter a lot and I like the show or whatever, but Like, why was Shy geeked up to see Chris Brown? Like, he abuses women. Y'all always talk about how people need to stop going to see men who abuse women, and then you keep going. Like I said a few episodes ago, they were talking about how Chris Brown posted Free Tory and it ended up in jail. And like I said, Chris Brown has multiple allegations and cases where he physically put his hands on the woman or threatened them. And Shy's geeked up to see this. Make it make sense. Like getting on the podcast and being like annoyed that people still go see Trey Songz or sing his music or celebrate him and Tory Lanez and Diddy and R. Kelly, but then you go see Chris Brown after you told us. Like I said, I'm really just speaking in circles at this point, but I just thought that was so strange. And it's like, that's not even the first time watching all. And like I said, I post videos. I'm sure I've self-contradicted. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect or whatever, but like, Shy has a tendency to contradict herself continuously. And as a rape victim, as somebody who has been abused, like, how the fuck are y'all like pro women and you're like, oh, like, don't support men who do this, da da da. And then Shy is steadily or like making jokes about still supporting the men sometimes. Like I said, with the like listening to certain music, or like how she was trying to defend Nicki Minaj low key one episode and was like, I'm not gonna take away this, or that she married a rapist. She defended her brother who repeatedly assaulted an 11-year-old girl. She made fun of Megan Thee Stallion having a dead mom. Like, Shy's always on the wrong side of history. I'm sorry. Like, sorry. Oh, and another thing, like, I absolutely love me some Angelina Jolie. I have a lot of female celebrities I love. They talk about how they get annoyed when people fangirl over people, but Shy brings up Beyonce every fucking episode, and it's low-key annoying as fuck. Like, low-key, sorry. But yeah, that's just my opinions on some things. And yeah, I repeated myself like 2 or 3 times to make sure my points were clear. Don't get me wrong, I like the girls. I really love Winter. I like the show, but like, some of the things just like, it confuses me. I don't know.